while everybody's filtering in. Hey, Yana. Hey, Lo.
Hey, have you heard the mashup of that song with Cater to You?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm gonna look. I saw people tweeting about this. I'm gonna go and find that later on once we
It's a
done.
vibe. It is a vibe.
I got
Y'all
my
heard the one
boots
with
and my
Drop It Like It's
assless
Hot?
chaps ready.
Y'all heard the one with Drop It Like It's Hot? That's a vibe.
I
Wait,
haven't heard
now,
that one yet. I'm gonna have to go find it.
like when the pimps get an attitude,
Oh
drop
wait,
that
I
one.
think I did hear it. Yeah. That is a good one too.
No. Oh wait, and that dude. He was in. He. It was a dude, right in
Uh
there.
huh.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one was good. Boom, 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 boom.
Some people just have like the best ear for music though, because in the original TikTok, the person made somebody commented on it and was like, just move the vocals over to the right, just a smidge. And I'm like, what the fuck? So when I listened to the new one, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big difference and it's so good. And
People
I ain't
really do
hear
be
that
having
at
some
all.
good ears because I still remember that Ed Sheeran song. That they were like, oh, that's the same melody, and I feel like I'm a musically inclined individual, and I've never heard No Scrubs until like recently. So I'm like, hey, people, some people are really good at this thing. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to another episode of the Committee Spaces, hosted by your one and only B Terrell. Thank you for listening and thank me for speaking. So, how has everyone's weekend been? What do you think about this? About the basketball that we had a chance to view, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between. What y'all think?
I don't even remember what happened this week, y'all. What happened?
It's been a good week, a long week. This week just seemed really
Mm,
long.
yes, I be needing a rundown. I don't be remembering off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, well, since you need a rundown, we'll get right into it then. We'll start with the ACC. We'll switch it up a little bit. You know, typically we like to go out west, but our good girl Shay not here yet. So, with the ACC, Virginia Tech. Of course, they are at the top. North Carolina State had a very close game against Georgia Tech. Probably what some would call unexpected, but some of these close games have caused some of the shifting at the top of the in the top 16. Charlie, as we've mentioned, don't ever really be right too much anyway. But what do you think about the North Carolina State and Georgia Tech game? I think it was 68-66, or it was like a 2 point game.
I think because of the time it is in the season, I don't put too much weight on it. The girls tired, not tired, fatigued, mentally, all of that. I don't. To me personally, just as a basketball fan in general, I don't put too much on it. They found a way to win. They got their best shot with my team at the bottom of the conference. So honestly, I don't put much on it. It is what it is. But that's just me.
So do you feel like it's one of those things where, especially like we've heard Iowa mention, well, we've heard Lisa Bluter mention it, Don maybe have said in the past, sometimes certain teams get up when you're facing, whether it's a top team nationally or the top team in your conference, you're going to probably have a little bit more oomph in your system. Do you think it was a case of that, or
Oh yeah,
simply just
I think
fatigue?
it's I think it's a plethora of things. I think of course, like you always gonna get up to play the top team, like duh. Because I mean, I really don't. I don't have nothing to lose. I'm not thinking too much. I don't have nothing to lose. But also just fatigued and not. Yeah, just it's just to the point of that season. Mentally, you're a little drained. You're tired. Stuff just not going your way. You can't think. Just yeah. So I don't put nothing on it. Just they figured it out. So it is what it is.
One
Okay.
thing I do want them to like, I agree with all that, but this is something they kind of ran into with the Virginia Tech game as well. I want them to stop settling for threes. NC State gets very three happy a lot, and like this game, they were 3 for 20 from the 3 point line, and that honestly is what had them so far behind at the beginning of the game. They just kept chucking up threes, and then eventually they started attacking the rim and get looking for paint points, which is to me is their strengths because of how quick their guards are. So I would like them to get out of that habit of just settling for threes and making sure that they continue to attack the basket.
Yeah, I echo what both Yana and Lo said. I think to Lo's point, I think for me at this point in the season, I'm more interested to see can top teams fight through tough games because for me that's a big separator come tournament time. Like if you have you been tested at this point in the season? Do you know how to win close games? Do you know how to win close games when you're not playing your best? And can you grind out games when you're not there mentally and maybe your physical is failing you? So for me, it was a impressive win in that NC State has kind of choked away some games at time. Specifically, when I think about that Virginia Tech game, it was a much more difficult opponent, but the three ball not falling definitely can be extremely detrimental to them. So can they learn from this? And will this serve them well come ACC tournament and NCAA tournament? Is going to be something I'm excited to see. So if anything, I think it was just a good learning experience because as we'll talk about throughout the weeks, there are other teams who are considered top teams who struggled with teams that probably should not have given them as much trouble.
And elsewhere in the ACC. And this was actually the only game that I heard Charlie mention that had some potential top 16. Or was I guess the team was possibly in jeopardy of falling out of the top 16, and it was Virginia Tech against Louisville. Obviously, Virginia Tech did win that game, but who do we think that if Louisville, I guess, continues to drop, do we think that another team will jump Gonzaga, or was that Gonzaga's calling card to potentially secure a hosting? We still got 2 more weeks left, 2 or 3 more weeks. Do you think that Gonzaga is trending upward, that they'll finally be able to get that, top 16 seed?
I
Mm,
think they should be a top 16 seed, but I just don't know if they will be because if they were going to be, they would have already been one in the first release that came out. So if anything, like who was I can see maybe like Syracuse jumping Louisville just because
Mhm.
of what they've been able to do. Maybe I don't even know, like West Virginia or something. Like I just feel like if Gonzaga was already going to be in it, their good games are past, like in the past, and so there's nothing in front of them that's going to help them jump into that top 16.
Basically, everyone else
Unfortunately,
would have to lose, like just keep
yeah.
losing, possibly. Because was Utah already predicted to be? Because in the national rankings, they're 18, but because of some of their wins, I do think that they were top 16 seed.
They had potential, and then they lost some, and now they've won some. So they're a team that's kind of like fluctuating in that 5 seed range as well. To be honest.
Okay.
yeah,
But I
I
do think Indiana losing also opens the door for some movement on that line too. Like Louisville and Indiana taking a bad loss to Illinois also helped.
Okay. And so we're going to go over to the Big Ten. We're going to talk about Michael's favorite peoples out there, Ohio State. They are currently sitting atop the Big Ten conference, and they are a game ahead of Iowa. So left in their season, they have to play at Penn State and at Iowa, and then they have home games against Maryland and Michigan. Do you think that they have enough to finish at first, or maybe in a tie for first against those teams? Because Penn State, they were a team that were trending upward, but then now they've kind of faltered a little bit. And then there's the Brendas in Michigan and Iowa. So what do you think that you see from them, or do they have enough to be able to finish? When you look at Iowa, who is just one game behind them, Iowa's remaining schedule for the Big Ten, they'll be facing Indiana, Illinois, who just upset Indiana, in Minnesota, and then Ohio State. So who has the better chance at finishing as regular season Big Ten champion?
I talent wise, I think Ohio State does have the roster to finish first or tied for first. Um, it's a lot of pressure when you get to that point in the season. You're trying to win that Big Ten title, and you can't like that fear of not losing one. Sometimes is bigger than the fear of needing to win one. So I think that's going to be something that could impact them. More so in like the Penn State game, um, because it's always like the game before the big game or the game after the big game is oftentimes the harder game. Um, but I am excited for what I've been seeing from them. Y'all know I've been super critical about my girls. But I do feel like they are starting to find basketball form. I'm excited with the bench starting to get more minutes. Um, I do think Indiana's going to try to play their best game against Iowa. Um, so I'm interested to see if they can make Iowa sweat at all. But I think ultimately we'll see a tie for the Big Ten title.
Hello, Yana.
Yeah, I'm expecting a tie. I think Ohio State, they're trending in the right direction. They'll do enough to get to that Iowa game with just, I think they have, how many losses do they have? They'll do enough to get to the Iowa game and have that one seed on the line for the Big Ten, I think. I think they'll do what they need to do. Now, at that game, I don't know. I think as long as they walk into that game with the opportunity to just already have a share clinched, and so it's really just about winning it outright, I think that's less pressure on them, and they can kind of go into that game with less pressure and maybe put more pressure on Iowa at home. But yeah, so we'll see.
Okay, so do we think that Indiana can catch Iowa slipping?
No.
Okay. Okay. So speaking of Indiana, they lost last night. They lost yesterday to a good midday game, or in a good midday game to Illinois. One that I was shocked at the result, to be honest. So, what did you, if you all watched, what did you take away from that particular game?
Illinois.
Illinois whooped their ass from start to finish. They just was on go. And Indiana could just never. There was Indiana was on their heels the whole game, and they couldn't do nothing about it. Illinois was literally just on go. That's literally what it was.
They had that little guard was getting them rebounds.
They just was on go. Like they just executed well. They was making shots. They just did their thing. I mean, they was
That's the Illinois team I expected to see all season. Um I thought this team could finish the year ranked. But they just simply have not been able to put together consecutive good quarters. And so that has really impacted their overall record. But that's a talented team. Like they've got three really talented guards. They've got a super solid post player. And some pretty solid transfers as well. They just simply have not been able to get the wins, but that's not a team that you can just, you know, ass around with because to Lowe's point, they were on go and on Indiana's ass.
they
So
couldn't do nothing.
yeah,
Indiana couldn't do nothing
I
about.
mean, it was yikes. So yeah, I do think that kind of I've always felt like after that Stanford loss, Indiana just wasn't like. I think you can lose a game, but the way you lose a game is just as important as the way you win a game. And they got their ass beat by Stanford early in the year, and that kind of marred their how they looked to me all season. And I just simply don't think that that's a top 16 team. In comparison to some of the others.
And I
Okay.
feel like this year, every time they've lost, it's been like get your ass beat lost. Like it hasn't been like close. They can figure it out and it's just like, a last minute shot went in or something like that, or they made a couple mistakes down the stretch. Like they just be getting their ass beat when they lost because they lost badly to Iowa. And I'll give them a little. I'll be a little nice about the Iowa one because they had to fly in same day. And then Illinois they lose badly again. So yeah.
Okay. I, everybody's done on that particular game? Because I want to play this amazing song before we
Yes,
go to our
sure.
next. Give me one moment. Thanks, Mailbox. We just got a letter. 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 Wonder who it's from. Okay, so in the spirit of Valentine's Day and cards and letters and all of that good stuff, we're going to go to our next game of the week, which was probably the top game of the week for various reasons. Has everyone written a did anyone write a Valentine's Day card last week? Anybody see
Oh
the
my.
no?
Mm-mm.
No, y'all ain't writing no letters. Well,
Mm-mm.
No.
we all knew that there was a particular countdown going on um, for the record-breaking career performance of one Caitlin Clark. She passed Kelsey Plum to be the all-time Division One women's basketball scoring leader, and she needed what 8 points to tie. I think nine to break it, maybe, or something like that, or eight, whatever.
Correct.
Well, Michigan wrote her a letter. Come to find out, it was before the game. So I'm going to ask you all in two parts. One, what did you think about the game? And then two, what did you think about the letter? Because we know what the general consensus is amongst other competitors, high level competitors. Imani, Kelsey Bone, Dev Peters, others like hell, Drea Carter, Shanae
Shanae.
Ogumake. We know what they've said. In the words of a lot of people, soft. So what did you take away from that particular game?
Boo. That's what you call toxic positivity. It's no way that I'm doing anything like that. Like if I get a little dap up after the game, probably not even after the game because no, but that's just too much. And I don't know who idea that was. The coach, the kids, I don't like that. That's weird. I don't care. It ain't nobody gonna change my mind about it.
Bring back Nas. Nas wouldn't have done that.
If the coach or any of my teammates suggested that, I would probably like quit on spot, or I don't know. Like I just you let I think it's impossible to keep her under 10. Like Caitlyn is a great scorer. So for the game, like
Absolutely.
shout out to Caitlyn. She was feeling it. She came in laser focused, even with all the attention around, and she like lit it up. But you not only gave her I don't want to say gave, but you didn't just let her get 8 points. She got 49 on your head. Like you gave up 49 points. Oh, like what the? And then you gave her a letter afterwards after she kicked your ass. Ain't no way. Like there's no way. I'm not giving nobody no letter. I might, like a post or something like that on Twitter the next week or something, but I'm not. No, hell no.
And that's probably why she dropped down 49 because they wasn't locked in. They was worried about that card. You
Put
might get
Layla.
8, but you ain't gonna get 38.
Put
I wonder if she could see my name on the card. Hope she know it's for me.
Like
let
that's
put
just weird to
get
anybody.
Layla in the portal. I don't give a damn about nobody else on the roster. Get my little sister Layla off that roster. If she need to graduate, graduate, but get her off the team. That's the weakest, most sister wives pussy touching, hand holding, weak shit, weak sauce mess I've ever seen in basketball history. And the nerve of a reporter to frame that as classy is weak as shit. These are competitors. And if my team, my teammate, my coach, or anybody in reference to my program tells me that I need to write a letter to my competitor congratulating her for breaking a scoring record on me, I promise you, I'm not exiting the game. I don't know what my assignment is, but I'm in her ass the entire game. And if anything, I'ma shove that letter down her ass crack when she don't break the record on me. Cause I would die before I let you do some shit like that to me.
Listen, I'm sending triple teams. Somebody else, like Hannah Stokey, finna go for 50 again, cause I don't care. Like I'm sending triple teams. I will literally. Ain't there like a little picture or a video of like those high school kids that had their hands, like their arms, like wrapped around this one
Yup, holding
player,
hands.
like a prayer circle? Bitch, oh, we holding hands, ring around the rosy around that bitch. I'm hell no. You not scoring on me. Like you gotta be out your mind if you think I'm finna let you get 49 on my head on today of all that, man.
And
Hell
that's what I
no.
hate about this like culture that we got in women's basketball right now is I follow softball, and this girl a few years ago was about to break the home run record. Her opponent said, I don't give a fuck about this record. We will walk you every single time you come to the plate because you're not breaking the record on me. Call it punk, call it weak, call it whatever you want. But as for me and my house, you're not doing it on my team. You can do it on somebody else. But I'm not about to write you no letter and give you a one-way ticket to cut my ass. I'm just not gonna do it. Molly Davis gonna have to strap that headband on. That shit might have to walk and be a six man. But Caitlin Clark is not going to be the one that scores on us.
I'd have pulled a Tanisha Wright when Asia was about to
Yep.
break that record. I'd have got attacked. I'd have
Exactly.
took off my baggy ass blouse, put on my cookout outfit. We using all the fucking distractions.
But that's funny because you remember Tanisha didn't have no problem letting DT get hers. But
Oh
anywho,
no, 40 on her, 40 on that head.
very odd, but whatevs.
I'm just screaming at what was the pregame speech like? Like Kim coming in there and say, "Hey girls, so what we're gonna do is write a 4-page letter." Like
Not
what the
Aaliyah.
fuck?
Mama
You supposed to be in
always
that bitch
told.
like Michael Irvin. Nobody believes in you. You gonna let somebody come into your house, take your bill. You ain't push. She don't get goddamn 7. Oh, that's some loser ass shit. I'm sorry.
And so there was a lot of conversation around, the use of the word classy and class and all that good stuff, when describing Michigan's team.
One of y'all know how
What?
to whistle.
Huh?
One of y'all know how to whistle. You hear that dog over there below? That's what that shit is.
Who's
Oh,
whistling like
that's
that? You
talent
was
right there.
good.
That was talent.
Thank you. I'm good with my mouth.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
To whistle. I'm a singer,
Mm.
so I'm good singing. Please. But go ahead, Dolores. Expound on this dog whistle.
It's like I don't care. Oh, not
Was that
Hunger
a
Games.
recorder?
Not Hunger
That
Games.
was me.
Justice for my good sis Rue. Um, but on the real though, I think we're at a place in women's college basketball, especially, and I know I'm jumping subject, but with everything going on with Cheryl, Caitlin, and just the high energy in American society, there are certain words and phrases that white people use in conversation and publicly and private that mean something specifically when they are saying them. And by using the word classy to reference how Michigan behaved in reference to letting or allowing or just writing letters to after she broke that record, for me was a direct attack or a direct dig at just about every other program that does not look like or does not play like Michigan. Because to say that writing a letter is classy emphasizes that not writing a letter is the opposite of classy. That's what, to me, that's what that says. And we see that word used a lot in reference to white women and how they behave in proper society, or we see it used to say the opposite of what white women do in society. And so for me, every time I see that word, my whistle antenna goes up, because it is it's used strategically and it's used to um, say certain things without saying certain things about non-white women.
Yeah, I think it's nasty, and I wish they'd just take the hoods. I mean, the blinders off, and just say what they want to say. Like it's just so coded, and to me, especially if you got anti-racist in your bio, then that means, in my opinion, that you've done the work to understand why these words mean things and you shouldn't use them. So it's kind of like we can't use the excuse, well, oh, maybe she doesn't know, because if that's what you're claiming to be, then you do know. So then it just becomes a choice. And it's interesting, and I don't want to say too much because this gets into a whole other subject. And every conversation, in my opinion, you just can't have a mixed company. But sir, oh, I can't. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Continue.
I'll elaborate. Ari Chambers made a wonderful, educational, and amazing thread about language. And class was one of the words she spoke about in that thread. So to even use that word after she made that thread proves to me that you are the person that we believe you to be. And that's a nasty gutter snipe.
Yeah, I saw Holly. I saw Vopal, and I forgot the other person. But
A few others, but I'm glad you pointed to those two because it's nasty.
yeah, and that's the one I would have the further conversation about. But this isn't the place.
Okay.
But
Well,
congrats to Caitlin on breaking the record. She will go down in history as one of the best players to ever play or touch a basketball.
One of the
You
best scorers out
one
One,
there.
of
I
the
was just
best
about to say that.
scorers
Yeah, one of the
to
best.
ever touch a basketball. I will say, I know it was petty, but I am excited that a South Carolina student did bring attention to a Francis Marion. Shout out to Florence, South Carolina player and D2 player. But again, we cannot diminish what Caitlin's been able to do. Not to mention, she's done it in when her freshman year was not a full season. She's put up these numbers in basically 3.5 seasons. So she is infamous, a great player. You weren't going to be able to stop her from breaking the record with how many games she had left this season, but I'd be damned if I was just going to write her a letter and walk her to the basket.
Doing it with the logo three is torch as hell. Like she pulled that bitch and she knew that hoe was going in.
I would have fouled her, child.
Oh yeah, no,
I,
I'd have tackled her.
oh, I was gonna pull the fire alarm. Everybody
But
get out.
nah,
Game
she hit that
canceled.
I
hoe
mean,
cold as
at
hell.
that point, they done wrote the letter. So if it was
True.
me, I just would have made sure it wasn't on me. Like I'm on the other side of the court when it happens, so I'm not in the camera angle when she shoots over somebody. I don't want to be in the video that's replayed for
For
years and years and
years.
years now.
Nah,
Like
that's a
I'm
good
on the
point.
other side.
If
Actually,
Calling
don't
the
if
sub
we
me
not
in
trying to if we not
until
trying to
after
strap
she scores.
not trying to strap shit. I'm gonna sit on the bench. Coach, I'm not feeling well today.
Okay.
calling a bomb threat or something, please. So, well, once again, like Dolores said, everyone said congratulations to Caitlin. Definitely going down as one of the best offensive players ever. Um, and we're gonna leave the Big Ten and go on to the Big 12. Um, I want to start with some good stuff. BG's jersey retirement, and in the words of some, no, I'm not even gonna be petty. So BG's jersey retirement. Sandy Brondella was there. She wasn't in Indy, but she was in Waco. Um, an amazing opportunity to really see BG smiling again. And I know she's gone on record, and people asked her how she felt, and she said she finally feels seen, and that's important because we're no stranger to the story of BG. What she's gone through over the past couple years, and we're just really happy for her. So what was that like for you all to watch that moment, her out there just basically engaging with the fans of Baylor, engaging with the community, having her jersey retired, and a homecoming of sorts for her?
She just looked happy. She was glowing, literally. She just looked really happy. That's
Yeah, I loved it for her. Like I just every video that I saw that came up, like her, talking to the players, meeting the players and her being announced to the fans and being a part of the dunk contest and like she was just having a blast and for someone who went through what they went through, it's really nice to just see a smile that big on her face and her being honored in a way that she should have been honored a while ago. So it was really nice to see.
Right.
Yeah, long overdue. But I'm happy that that moment finally happened and that it wasn't overshadowed by no bullshit from another coach at another school.
hmm And speaking of coaches, I really just like how, because we know Nikki didn't coach BG. Nikki's only been at Baylor what? This is her third season, but the way she's kind of made it her business to really make sure that things are handled correctly. From at least what we can see, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but she's been very vocal about the care of BG, and I think that that's good for someone. Yes, she coached against her as a professional coach, but she didn't coach her in college at all, and she still made sure that, hey, BG, you are loved. This is home for you. You are valued and respected. So shouts out to Coach Nikki Collin for that. Um, about Baylor. Baylor is currently sitting. They are 19-6. They took a little tumble in the rankings recently. Over the weekend, they had Oklahoma and Texas Tech. They did win against Texas Tech. They only lost by 9 points to Oklahoma. So they are still for sure in the tournament picture, but they're currently the number 6 seed, in the number 5 seed, excuse me, in current Big 12 standings, and that top team is Oklahoma. Do we think that Oklahoma will finish out the season number one overall in the Big 12? They
If
have,
they do, burn the conference
No,
down.
can't be because Oklahoma is not.
because
No,
look, this is their schedule. They
It's
have
really
Oklahoma State, excuse me. Number five, Texas, who that could be a good one, and then Kansas. So they are currently a game ahead of Texas. Excuse me, a
I
game
think
and a half ahead of Texas.
all three of those games could get interesting in my opinion. Oklahoma Oklahoma State got Hannah, and they got some solid pieces as well.
And Kansas
Um,
got the double double.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Kansas not no hoe. I think all three of them could get interested because Oklahoma is very up and down. I'm watch every time I watch Oklahoma, I'm like, what is it finna play? I just never know. Like, well, that's that whole conference. If I'm being honest, I just never really know. So I think all three of those games can be real interesting.
Mm.
I just feel like when I look at the Big 12 and I see that they got 5 teams ranked and the SEC only got 2, I just have to laugh. That don't make sense to me. Like
Because in
I don't
what
know. It just
world?
don't make sense to me. Like I mean, is it a down year for the SEC? Maybe, but I know the SEC ain't that down to the Big 12.
But I think I said it time and time again. I don't think the SEC is appreciated in a way that it should because it's such a gritty defensive centered league. You know what I mean? And people don't want to see that. Well, they don't people don't value that particularly.
BC based off of a lot of the awards, but that's neither here nor there.
So I don't think they get an SEC, you know. But never mind, we're not talking about SEC. Go ahead.
So Ayoka Lee returned for Kansas State.
That
How'd she
baby
look for
gotta
you
get in
all?
that baby
And they
gotta get in
played
shape.
they played one of my favorite games of the season against Iowa State as soon as she got back. That game was
Fun.
absolutely bonkers.
Yes. Super
Yeah,
fun.
so fun. I mean, Audie Crooks went up against Ioka, must see TV, wide back, big game of the season. Um, the freshman for Iowa State showed up time and time again. Um, Kansas State, Serena Sundell is really that girl. Um, like it was just a really good game for that conference. Like, if you don't like that style of play, you might not have liked the game. But I thought for the rosters that they have, it was a nice defensive game. Offense came when it needed to come. And I was on the edge of my seat. Like they were trading buckets, trading stops. It was really fun to see. For the sake of how good Kansas State started this season, I really do hope that they can find their rhythm again. Because I would be interested to see that team as a top 16 seed firmly and see what they can do in the tournament. Um, but yeah, I think to Lowe's point, she just got to get back in shape.
Now their journey, they go up against Iowa State again. They have West Virginia next, and Kansas and Texas Tech. So there is possibility for them to make up some of the lost ground that occurred over the past few weeks while Lee was out. Do you think they win all of those? Because they have Iowa State at home, so that
West
is
Virginia is going to be their hardest one.
Hmm. And that's will probably be their biggest one too. Like as far as like solidifying that top 16 seed before heading to the tournament weekend, I guess that'll probably be one of the more important ones.
so we're looking at 3-1.
Yeah, I think that realistically 3-1. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, now that Shay is here, we're going to go out west to the Pac-12. We saved this just for you, sister. All right, Stanford, they are probably the champs of the Pac 12, but you never know because out there in the Pac 12, soon to be two, anything can happen at any given moment. They are currently in a two-game lead, and there is a three-way tie between Oregon State, USC. I can't believe I said that. Oregon State, Southern California, and Colorado. So, which of those teams do you think will finish with ownership of the second place seed?
Well, we've already swept Oregon State. Thank you. Clean that one up. Uh, our big joint, we play Colorado on Friday. That's gonna be for the money.
Okay. So, which version of USC you think is going to show up? Which version of Southern California you think is going to show up?
We play well at home, so we gonna be all right. It's just like when Jalen get going downhill, that shit is hard to stop. That's gonna be where they're gonna have to really lock in and strap up.
That game's gonna be like really interesting because Colorado's on a 2 game losing streak right now. So I'm interested to see like how hard Colorado comes out for that game. Just because like seeding for Pac-12 is up for grabs. Because honestly, the teams in that 4 seed spot aren't too far off. I think Colorado, yeah, looking at this, Colorado's like 10-4, and they lost to Utah. So if Utah keeps winning, Utah could probably jump them. So Colorado needs some wins. They got to rack up some wins because they've been on a little downslide. So that game's going to be interesting.
Because this is a big weekend for them. They have Colorado and Utah, both at home though, so that's good. So, and I think Rhea had a really good game over the weekend. She showed glimpses of what
Finally.
Yeah, that
I'm
baby
about to
stressed me out.
say, whew.
she showed what she could do. So, do we
Sorry, B,
think
can I
that?
just oh go ahead,
Go
B,
ahead.
ask your question. Oh no,
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say this is about Oregon, the green one. Y'all have got to be fucking for real. Like the effort is not only is the court fucking ugly, the effort is goddamn embarrassing. I don't know if y'all are tanking. I don't even know if you can do that in college. But Kelly Graves, you and the other Kelly, y'all got to go. It's over with. I'm so sorry. I know y'all have been hanging that we could have won with Sabrina Banner for 4 years, but it's time to take it down and move on. I'm so sorry.
So Kelly's on the hot seat, is what you're saying? Is it warm or
The
is it
seat is scorched.
Yeah, that seat's singed.
I
Ain't
mean,
got dust left.
not in
I
the
honestly
incinerator?
I'm embarrassed that Chance Gray and my good sis Van Sluten like are sticking it out like this. Like they deserve compensation. Like what's them asbestos
Not
commercials?
mesothelioma.
You are entitled to compensation if you have ever worked in or an organ duct uniform.
Okay.
Freedom
So
girls. Y'all see how Pow Pow glowed up when she got up out of there?
so the Pac-12 is doing what it's doing. A few more games for them. Like I said, I think Stanford definitely will run away with that. They do look pretty unstoppable
Can we
right
just
now.
say like for me that's a big feat. Like looking at like first of all, giving up bets is still like Tara still deserves hot seat conversations for the bullshit she pulled with Haley Jones and Lauren Betts, but we're not gonna get into that. But I will say that the job that she's been able to do in helping turn Kiki Iriafen into a future lottery pick, and not really having a solid or consistent guard core, but really riding Cam and Kiki to this record in conference is to be applauded. Like I mean, she earned a check this year with that roster because it's not a extremely deep roster, especially against tough competition. So those two, it reminds me of South Carolina 2016, 2015, when it was the Asia and Elena show. Um, and she is really like just worked wonders with that group.
So if it's just what you're saying is that Haley Van Lith should have went there.
Harry should have
Now,
gone
B,
No
where
anywhere.
comment.
you get
It
that from?
wasn't.
Now, how you got 2 and 2 and 4 out of that?
I'm sorry.
Like, now
I'm
where?
sorry. I'm sorry.
Just what you just said.
Okay. So shout out to Tara though. Like you have a really good season. I think her toughest game left on the slate will be Oregon State, and they play at Oregon State. So that's going to be a tough one. So they have the Arizonas and the Oregons to finish. So they have the Arizonas at home and on the road to finish the Oregons, and get their good rest before the tournament starts. So leaving the Pac-12, coming out south to the SEC. Um, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. That was an interesting game, a really good game. What do y'all take away from that?
They just both teams just they're like I said, they just so up and down. You just never really know. Mississippi State had it and then folded.
I
Um,
like baby Simone Augustus.
Maddie.
Yes.
Now I
From the
will say I will.
crib.
Now that's she finding her way because she has not. It hasn't been pretty, but she's definitely finding her way. I think Kennedy Todd Williams looks really good for them. Marquisha Davis, Marquisha or Marquisha, one of the two.
That's
She
my
does
baby
well,
little Ka.
I guess.
It's Marquisha.
Yeah, flaw is Lil Ka to me. But
Ah, okay, okay, go ahead.
Lauren Park Lane is very, very small and it's stifling her. Like she has not like it's so many times where she makes the right move, she does the right thing, and it's just small. Like it's just nothing she could do. They just swallow her up. Um, don't start B. They just swallow her up. So that's been really interesting.
Have you
Do
ever
it,
been
D.
to a point of swallowing? Have you ever been swallowed up? Sorry, go ahead.
I do think what was interesting to me is when we watched the LSU game, the freshman Miracle came off the bench and gave energy. She gave really, really, really stifling defense, and I don't understand why that wasn't used, especially when you playing a Ole Miss team with a freshman point guard who, I mean, she held her own, but she's still a freshman point guard. Then if it wasn't her, you had Kennedy Todd Williams or Maddie bringing the ball down the court, and I think Miracle could have put a little more pressure on them with her defense because she a dog. She would have, you know what I'm saying? So Mississippi State rotations was interesting, but yeah, it was just what we expected. I had no clue who was gonna win.
All right. Another other two games of the week. Um, to some shocking results, or close results, closer than expected. But Camilla came back from Brazil, a little jet lag, but she came back with a good hunger. I don't know if she was pissed because of, obviously getting ejected and Brazil didn't qualify for the Olympics or what. I don't know what Satu said to her, but she put in some monster performance. Well, she put in some strong performances for South Carolina this week and was named South Carolina co-player of the week. We gonna ignore the code because South Carolina is always getting code this, code that. But some really tough games for SC to which they eventually won against both Tennessee and Georgia. Which was y'all's favorite game? Which one was the most shocking result? And then which one was your favorite game to watch of those two this week?
Neither, goddamn it. But I will say this is the Camilla that is in the game now. That's what I love. Like Camilla is getting the ball and going. She went through Javin Nicholson chest one time this week. And I would Camilla don't she grabbed that shit and went through her chest and laid that shit up. That's what we need from Camilla. Because if you notice, I ain't gonna lie, she was still missing a lot. But you know what she would do? She would get it, she would miss it, go grab it, and go back up again. This aggression is something that we have not seen from Camilla. Like when she took that damn ball and went through jab and chest, I said, "Oh, that's T. That's what I need." So her just and it just always right there. Her just being just aggressive changes the whole complexion. Like now you somebody that I'm like, shit, give it to her. Because even if she misses, she gonna go and get it. I love that. I need that
Mhm.
aggression every single time she stepped on the court. So I don't whatever pissed her off or made her mad or somebody said something to her mama. I don't know what it is. That is the Camilla I need. Our guards have been shitty. They've been awful. I'm not sure if somebody needs to say something about their mama, but they've been shitty. And it could be fatigue, but they've been awful. So they need to figure it out, get it together. Not, let me take that back. Raven has not been awful. Raven has done her thing. She's at least led the team. Powell and Breezy, I don't know what's going on. They'll get it back. I think it's just fatigue. I'm gonna give them that, but they haven't been terrible. So they need to snap back. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Powell found her shooting in the Georgia game.
At the end, she came through clutch because I mean, shooters do shoot. She eventually makes some, right? But I think they just have been a little disjointed. I will. The reason I think it's fatigue because Breezy was just throwing the ball to the other team. You know what I mean? And she doesn't do that. That's uncharacteristic. So I think if it's not physical fatigue, just mental, just tired this time of the season. That's what I think it is. But they gotta woosah, get their zen on and figure it out.
Go get some gizzards from Nick's.
No.
Yana, Dolores.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I don't think I the one game that shocked me the most is probably the Georgia game, and it wasn't really the starters, it was the bench that shocked me. Because the starters actually started the game pretty well, and typically we expect the bench to come in and like extend the lead or just bring the energy and go faster. But the bench kind of came in and everything kind of went left as soon as the bench came in. And then the game went left after that, and it was hard to kind of get control of it again until after halftime. So that one kind of shocked me, but it's nice to still like I always have to remind myself that this team is still young. They like a lot of these players, they weren't asked to do anything last year outside of be a role player, and now they're the ones that kind of have to help get their team over the hump during this tough time, right? Like you could lean on Aaliyah last year, you could lean on Bree, you can lean on Zaya, like and Saxton, like those were steady cogs that have been starting since their freshman year, so they knew about it. But now you got players that ain't really been playing 20 something minutes a game for 30 games of the season and stuff like that. So I have to remind myself that they're still young, they're still learning. This is a learning process. Yes, they're undefeated right now, but everything's still a learning process for them. So it's nice to see them come out and struggle, but still be able to find a way to win because you're going to need that come tournament time. Like every team, like we talked about it with NC State, like you're going to need to be able to pull from games like that where it's like, all right, our shots may not be falling. We may have taken 18 threes in the first half, but let's get back to what we do and let's grind it out and let's figure out a way to win. Like you're going to need these type of games to help you get through March.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think for me, I always say this about South Carolina, but I love that Don has built a team that can sustain success without the three ball. And I think that Georgia game was one of those games in the first half specifically where we know that they can shoot the ball, but I think that they were passing up good shots or great shots for just open threes. And when you can make them and you do make them at a high clip, yes, you're going to shoot them. But I think that they went away from moving the ball around, swinging it, getting the ball into the getting the ball into the post first before they take the open three shot. Like, I don't think Don is telling them not to shoot the three ball, but taking the best three ball at the right time um, was something that was really missing in the first half. And I think ultimately, I think a lot more credit has to be given to Georgia. Like, Javin came in that game trying to with upset on her mind. Like she didn't give a damn if it was Ashlyn, Camilla, Chloe, whoever was on her, she was taking it to their ass. And when you get a player like her with her talent, um, rolling, it's kind of hard to stop. But I think defensively, our guards can't oftentimes just settle for letting the ball get into the post. Like I think we have to apply a little bit better on ball pressure so that our post players aren't forced to save them and save themselves. And I think, we got into that habit sometimes with Aaliyah and Saxton. And I think sometimes we get into that habit on this team where we might overplay or not have our hands active on defense, and we're letting dribble penetration happen, then drawing the help, and then an easy dump down or a kick out. So I think if we can stay locked in on the defense, especially for somebody like Breezy, like I think you can see it in her. Like she is a player that wants everything so much, and I think sometimes she wants it too much. And I think that like we see that happen sometimes in big games where she might start off looking a little like, okay, sister, come back to earth because she wants it so much. She wants to make the big plays. She wants to be that player for this team. And I think once they all kind of settle and be like, let's do what we know how to do. We don't got to do anything magical. Like the magic is just us. I think they'll play a lot better. But to Yana's point, I do think that we have to still give them credit for the fact that this is a very young team. And they're still learning how to be the team that they're going to be because quite frankly, this is a new like South Carolina team just ever. Like I've never seen a South Carolina team in the history of South Carolina teams that can do what this team does from the shooting, post, and defensively. Like we've seen a good shooting South Carolina team, we've seen defensive South Carolina teams, but we've never seen a team that can do all of it the way they can do it this year. So I do think that there's still a lot of learning that has to take place, but ultimately they got the win. So we'll put our head down and hopefully find another streak in us to play a lot better.
And I want to shout out just the. I mean, we've seen it in other games as well, but the I don't know if I would call it. I don't know if this is on coaching the girls, maybe both, but to have a quarter or a half that bad and then just come out the next half like short term memory and just hoop like Malaysia came back better. Ashland came back in the second half better and turned it up because those were the two that were really like Yana said when the bench came in they were awful. they were
Chloe
so
too.
they were awful, but Chloe too,
Yeah,
because goddamn, the bench was terrible. So
Hmm.
for them to come, yeah, they were so fucking bad. For them
they
to
were.
come, I'm sorry, but so for them to come back in the second half and like just shake it off and turn up, that's really dope. And like you said, because they're so young, that's invaluable experience and stuff. So that's really dope.
Also, I know y'all get annoyed, but I will genuinely and honestly say that this is the start of the Camilla that I have been begging for
Mm-hmm. Mm.
since the season started. And I'm gonna be quite honest, and I remember I said this before, but this 16 and 16 Camilla put up to me is the floor for her. Like she didn't what Lo said she was missing shots.
Sure.
Like Camilla can put up 12 and 12 with her eyes closed.
Exactly,
Like
and
just show up
that's
to
why I
the
can't
game.
settle for it. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And so for me, that's why I'm always like I know that there's more. And so even I know Giannis sometimes is like, well, I don't really expect, more than that. To me, I'm like, that's why I be so angry all the damn time. Cause 16 and 16 is easy. Like you open your eyes and be like, damn, she just got 16 points, 16 rebounds, 3 blocks, and she didn't
Bingo.
sweat. Like, so for me, I'm like, if Camilla can just own her dominance and own her impact on the court, it doesn't even mean doing anything different. Because just being more active on the boards, finishing around the rim, that's going to turn that 16 into 26. And that's going to turn that 16 rebounds into 20.
Literally.
Like like to me, that is what I want to see from her because she can do it. She's not playing major minutes. She doesn't really have to. When the three ball's not falling, box out. Don't let nobody snatch that shit from you and take it back up and make sure the shit goes in.
Oh, when she went through jabbing chest, I could have threw my shoe.
I need to find. Do you? I need to find that clip.
Oh, y'all, that
she,
that right
yeah,
there. I feel like I was like, oh, all of my hopes and dreams and my prayers have come. I mean, she got Ashlyn dumped it to her, and she went right through that mofo chest and laid it up and ran on down the court.
So
That's
now I
yeah.
tea.
have a question because I saw some people tweet this. Do we think that there is a case for her to be Player of the Year?
Yeah, I think it's Angel.
I I don't think
I don't
so.
either.
And the only reason why I say I don't think so is not statistics. I think when you look at the South Carolina team, she's not the most important player on the team.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Who
think
is it?
Angel. Raven.
Raven.
Yeah, Raven.
Yeah, it's Raven.
Ravens
Raven.
I
everything.
mean, it's
The
Raven
snake.
Johnson by
Offense,
far.
defense, she's the head.
Yeah, all us said the
And
Oh wait,
same
well
thing
let's
at
talk
the
and
about
same
Raven.
time.
Didn't Raven block a post player?
she did
A
on a
two
fast
on
break.
one fast break.
To me, I don't think basketball as it is placed right now can understand how good Raven
Mm-hmm.
is. Like I don't think that the basketball community that like your average basketball fans outside of people like us can really watch South Carolina play and understand how good Raven is. Because they're looking for
Blitz and glam.
25 points, 7 assists, and between the leg tweeners and shit. Everything that Raven does for this team is everything that I would
We
want
can
from
barely
her.
hear
Wait,
you,
what happened,
Dolores.
Dolores?
I'm sorry, is that
Yes.
better? Is this better? Yeah,
Hold
everything
up.
that she does for this team is what I want. Like even her like turnover passes are smart passes. Like she made a pass to Chloe, and I was so annoyed at Chloe because I'm like, damn, them knees failed her. But like she just makes the right plays consistently, and even if it's not executed well, you know that the intention was there. Or like her rebounding, her activity on defense, she gives her opponents hell for 40 minutes. She's in shape. She's good. She knows her spots on the floor. She's not settling for her three ball missing. She knows when it's time to attack the rim. Like she is just a genius on
She
the
really
floor.
is.
And she's only just getting started. Like, I don't care what nobody say. I would take her on my team before just about anybody. She is the most important player on the South
That's
Carolina
what I
roster.
just want us to bring back traditional point guards.
That's
People
exactly
can't.
where I was going.
Yes, people can't appreciate her because we want the Caitlin Clark point guards or the Page point guards and those that's cool like that score, but the traditional pass first point guards that like can strap up that do the dirty work like that mofo. Okay, Camilla out, boom, I'll go get you 15 rebounds. Okay, this game you need me to get 12 assists. Okay, that ain't no problem. That ain't no problem. I can do that too. Oh, this game I need to score. Oh, I can do that too. Oh, I need to put this game away. Let me size it up, look at the clock, and go here. I remember it was one play, one game when Powell is quote unquote the shooter. I think it was the LSU game.
It
She
was
came down the
LSU
court
passed it to
and she
Malaysia.
looked at Powell, and it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
she looked her off, but she knew, nah, dog, I gotta get us the lay. Lay finna
Lay
give me
was in
my
the right
bucket I
corner.
need, and she got it the lay. Lay hit the shot. Like it's stuff like that. Camilla, like even Camilla, like I know they got a bond, but she put that bitch right in Camilla's hands. You could think the pass is like going to yesteryear, and somehow, some way, Raven is dropping it right in Camilla's hands. Like she is not appreciated enough. Like that's the hill that I would die on this season. That girl is not appreciated the way that she should be.
So I'm about to do something. If you had to choose from under the Dawn Staley era,
Oh,
Ty or Raven.
Raven.
I like Ty a lot too, but I think I'm gonna go Raven.
I think
Ah,
Yes, I'm gonna go
that's
I
hard.
Raven.
feel like
I'm gonna take
Oh, but
Raven.
I like Ty
you want to
too.
see the
Ty
potential
is good.
that
I'm gonna take
left.
Raven.
Oh man,
Defensively, Raven takes her by a
That's
mile,
true.
and
Yeah.
But damn,
that's
Ty
what
But
fast.
I'm
Ty is a
that's
bigger
what I'm
body.
I'm gonna
oh,
take
Raven
Not
Raven.
be
that much bigger. Raven is not as small as y'all
Oh yeah,
think she
she's
is.
not. She's not for
Yeah,
sure. Ty probably got like maybe 2 inches on her.
maybe.
Yeah, Ty's five
Yeah,
Now,
two, right? Raven's like
that's a
five.
stretch in my opinion.
but Raven will move somebody out the way. Like if she
that's true.
goes to
Raven
the
is kind of
basket,
Chelsea
she goes
Grayish a
to
little
the
bit.
basket. You ain't stopping her if she going to the basket.
What y'all say about Chelsea? What do y'all always say about Chelsea? Put that wagon on you or whatever and back you down. That
That's
that
probably
is
what you
Raven.
say, B.
I think
You know he
No, y'all be saying she be chugging along. No.
she do. She do.
so. I had to look it up. Defensively, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. I personally have been a fan of Raven since she was in high school, and like y'all, she is only a sophomore, a redshirt sophomore, leading this team like a true senior. So
By the time to go in the
yeah.
draft, it'll be some retirement. Oh Lord, I fucked that
so.
word up. Retirement's going on.
Sound it out, baby.
Where Yana, what you say, Yana? You in the Matrix?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
she really in the matrix because I don't hear it,
let me see. I'll leave and come back.
No, we can hear you now.
sister.
Okay. So I was looking it up, and obviously Raven is light years ahead defensively from Sue Bird. But when we talk about like the ultimate point guard offensively, I'm looking at Sue Bird's stats in college. And her sophomore year, Sue averaged 10 points, but it was her assist numbers and her like steals. She had like 4.3 assists per game, 1.8 steals per game, and Raven is obviously averaging more rebounding, especially after these last few games. But Sue still did what needed to be done for her team, right? Like she was a like the one that kept that team going. She was the ultimate piece, that glue that kept them together, that everybody appreciated. So I do think that, like y'all are saying, people are forgetting about the point guards of the old that used to just do it all for their team, although the stats really didn't show it all the time.
Well, shout out to Raven in South Carolina. So that before we wrap up the college portion, we want to go into the first reveal of the top 16, and it was projected. Give me one moment. Let me pull this up here. And so obviously things have been a little. It's changed a little bit, but the top 16s currently: South Carolina, Stanford, Ohio, Colorado, Iowa, North Carolina State, UCLA, and Texas. Then there's Southern Cal, Virginia Tech, Oregon State, and UConn, and then Kansas State, LSU, Indiana, and Louisville. That was as of games played through Valentine's Day. So, who do you think? I guess with that reveal, you have your one seeds, one, two, three, and four seeds. Who do you think has the biggest opportunity to climb? Maybe jump one to the next line, or jump two lines if possible. And who do you think is probably going to drop out?
This ain't my convo, child.
Oh, let me invite him back. Hold on. I'm coming, Dolores.
Who do I think has the chance to jump? Who? I think Southern Cal does. I don't know if they can jump to a one seed, but I think they're on like that edge of being a two seed, and so they could probably make a jump. Indiana, Louisville, I think have kind of already dropped out. Um, LSU to me is also on the verge of dropping out. I was kind of surprised that they had LSU as a four seed. But seeing that they have LSU as a low four seed tells me that they aren't happy with their scheduling. And so if LSU were to lose to any other team that's not South Carolina, I think they would probably be on the edge of dropping out of that top 16. Like I actually do think they can't afford to lose to anyone else not named South Carolina. Um, Oregon State can jump up. They have a pretty tough schedule to finish the season out, so if they can get some wins, that'd be good for them. Same with Kansas State. I think Kansas State could probably jump up a little bit more too.
Yeah, because already this was before Valentine's Day, and so since then we definitely know that Louisville's gone. Colorado has dropped down. Iowa's moved to a one seed, and North Carolina State they're right there at that edge too. So it's going to be a lot of moving up and down over the next few weeks until.
I'm
For
just not convinced that Ohio State and Iowa, like there, I just don't see a world where two Big Ten teams should be a one seed. Like maybe if you told me there were two Pac-12 teams sitting on the one seed line, I'd say, all right, yeah, because this season they're loaded and they've been beating up on each other, but they're still loaded. But you telling me Iowa and Ohio State are one seed? I don't see
Okay.
it. I
So who
can't.
you take? Which one you taking then?
Whoever wins the conference tournament, because I do think
ne-
that I kind of have.
neither is a one seed though. I
I'm okay
Mm.
with that too. I'm actually okay with that too.
because for me this season, I think the Pac-12 is being penalized for being good. Like the way that UCLA, Stanford, or Colorado and USC have moved in the rankings after losses to each other, to me is kind of asinine. Like there in no world should not two of those teams be a one seed. I just don't think that you can realistically do a bracket where a conference where almost half of the conference is a potential top 16 seed where two of those teams are not one seeds. And that's out of conference and in conference. Like UCLA did not hold themselves in the non-conference. Stanford did not hold themselves in the non-conference. Colorado went out and beat LSU in the non-conference. Like Utah went out and played South Carolina in the non-conference. The only of that much justice were Southern Cal and Oregon State. But I think that both of those programs have held serve against better programs in the conference to where I don't think I can look at them and say two of these teams don't deserve a one seed. And when I say that about the Big Ten, it's because same reasons. Like, Iowa's best win is Kansas State. Ohio's best win is Iowa. Like, and outside of that, nothing like blowing you off your feet, in terms of wins and losses. So I test wise, I don't see them as one seeds.
Agree. We also beat the shit out of Ohio State. So
Well, yes.
And yeah, Ohio State lost to Southern Cal and UCLA. So there's
Well,
that.
but Charlie Cream's always wrong anyway. So yeah, we
Yeah,
gonna
but
just
this is
wait.
like even when you look at the NCAA's reveal, you see that they put more into Iowa and Ohio State's scheduling right now, and which is crazy to me because I don't know how you like lift them up and then you kind of penalize LSU. Like I'm all for penalizing LSU, don't get me wrong, because that cupcake schedule stinks. But you can't penalize them and then be like one seed for Ohio State and Iowa. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Okay. Well, that concludes the college portion of this week. We're going to go on over to the WNBA. We're going to make a stop where Sandy did it in Indianapolis for the WNBA and NBA crossover of NBA All Star Weekend. In the home of Aaliyah Boston and the Indiana Fever, we had the top celebrities and faces and influencers from around basketball culture pop into town at Gainbridge Fieldhouse and Lucas Oil Stadium, where it was highlighted by an amazing showing of Sabrina versus Steph. Did you all enjoy the 3 point shootout? We're going to ignore the rest of the men portion of NBA All Star because it left a lot to be desired. But for that particular segment, the reports came in that it peaked around I think 10:30 to 10:45, and that was the time frame in which Steph and Sabrina had their competition. What do you think overall about just the competition? We're going to get to the comments or the remarks or the commentating around it a little later.
The competition was good. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be more than one round.
I did too.
I don't know. Did I, child? I made that up in my head. Must be.
I think everybody did, or a good bit of people did.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, child. I thought it was gonna be like more, but I guess why? They just both shoot. But I thought it was good. I mean, I think it went how it was gonna go. Sabrina's a really good shooter, but Steph is just. I don't watch men's basketball, but I know he like the best shooter ever. So I think it went just about how I thought it would. But and Sabrina beat all the other men, so hey.
All right. Now, after that, there were some comments made from the commentating booth in regards to maybe Sabrina should have shot from the WNBA line. It would have helped her more. It would have given her a better advantage. Kind of downplaying what she did. Mm. Um, so, what were your takes in regards to those comments? And he pretty much doubled down on it once he went on. I think he went on Stephen
Stephen
A.
A.
Smith's show
show.
or something.
Yes.
So, what were your takes in regards to his comments?
I knew
What?
that shit was gonna happen too. That's why I
Like,
felt like it was
I'm
a
Yeah,
about
lose
to say that
lose.
shit
Like,
happens when you
so
want to
a
play
lot,
your narrative.
a lot of people thought that it was going to be a lose lose, and I know, especially you,
yeah,
Flo, you were
like
very vocal about it.
instead of talking about how well she did and how she beat all the other men, we arguing about misogyny and sexism and disparaging comments. Duh. It's a lose lose. She went out there and did great. Did she win? No, but she still did her thing, and that's all the hell they talking about. What was the damn point?
Because
And this
had
and
she won, it was going to be well, she shot with a
something else,
smaller ball.
yeah. And it's like, but at the same time, these are the same men that y'all want around this damn league so bad. Y'all want to do this all the time. This is what y'all want. Don't nobody got time for that. Instead of celebrating how good the girl did, all of her fans, all of women's basketball Twitter, not me, because I'm done arguing with y'all asses. All of these people are arguing about, well, she did this and you still said this, and she what the fuck did her ass shoot for? We know Sabrina could shoot. She didn't have to go and prove nothing to nobody. Everybody know that girl can shoot. It just didn't. And I mean, I guess people
You
to
know,
know about the WNBA or whatever, sure, but what do they know? What
you
what
know they
what?
prepared to give Steph the advocacy award now.
This,
Yeah.
but see, this is where I want to enter the conversation. This part about what did we do? The WNBA doesn't even have the cash flow to build and expound upon Sabrina's success in the All Star game or in this 3-point contest. So we just had all this hoopla about her going to the game. You know, we have all this conversation, but we're not even going to be able to continue the conversation or use this to bring eyes back to the W because there's no cash flow anywhere that says, look what our player just did surrounded by these men that y'all keep saying, well, she can't compare to. And you have no way of monopolizing that or using that as a building block for further growth in the W. Like the conversation is going to stop at Twitter or unless more men talk about it stupidly. So for me, that's why I
Or is it me?
said, what was the point of her going? Because unless you were going to use this as a marketing tool or a ploy to build and grow your audience, you did it to dance in front of men. Like literally nothing was gained from that other than building, Sabrina's name for the men that already like her. Oh, taking WNBA fans and bringing them to the men's side. They're basically already there and then just allowing the W to be shit on in the process. Like it to me, it just really made no sense. It wasn't done well. It didn't highlight or emphasize how good the W is. Like it was unproductive.
And
Going and
oh, sorry.
then rewinding to the night prior with the celebrity game, you had Natasha Cloud and Jewel Lloyd a part of that game, and there were several times where they could have really shown. And I get it; they may because that is their career. They may not go full force, right? You know, the All Star game. Nobody's really going to exert that much energy to it. But there are so many times, and there were so many questions on the timeline, like what does the W gain by having their athletes be a part of this? Because they're ignored in the game. There's minimal commentary about them, about their careers. But you have YouTubers successful in their rights, getting sensitive when an actual world champion, an Olympic champion, gives some sort of playful banter or whatever. So, what do you think that the W should no longer be a part
That
of it, or
segue
maybe
was
take
elite,
back
B.
their
You
friend?
ate that shit up. That
Huh?
segue was kind of fucking elite. You ate that shit up.
I think
Thank you, thank you.
I think it's still a
I've
way
been
for them to
studying.
be a part of it. I just don't think they have to be a part of like the celebrity all star game, right? Like I think
yeah. Mm-mm.
be coach or having like KP on the sidelines talking. That was nice. Like, do what you do for the when the men's come to the All Star game and y'all have them on our camp, like in our TV, on our like in our face constantly. Like, look who's here, look who's here. Like, you could do that. Like, you could have them be a coach or have them be a judge or something like that. But just, I don't really see the
Right,
point.
actually have them be a coach instead of Shannon and Stephen A. hollering at each other the entire game.
Yeah, I just don't see the point of them being in the celebrity all star game. Like I don't get it. Um the 3-point contest, like everybody said up here, Sabrina, she shot the ball well. I hate that I had to get on a soapbox and defend her because
It's been paining me, girl. It's been paining me.
her fans are too stupid to realize what the fuck's going on and they think the world is all rainbows and sunshine. So whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't with the All Star game.
Okay, so everybody who's listening in on the stage, hold your hand up. Right, hold the hand that you're holding your phone in. Take a minute and turn it sideways. Okay. Now, with that, turn your head sideways as well. Now, that brings us to the best event that really wasn't an official quote unquote NBA sanctioned event of
Your
WNBA
ass is
All Star
crazy.
Weekend, which was Hennessy 2 versus 2. While we were only tuning in for about 30 minutes, That to me was something exciting. It was something cultural. It was something that gave, like that real street ball vibe to basketball. And I mentioned this. I mentioned this during the Super Bowl week. The NFL parties are very oons, oons, versus the NBA. You get like we some headbusters type energy. And I feel like with Hennessy being a partner of the NBA and the WNBA as well, like they were really able to bring in that culture. Like the music was high, like the crowd was. And Jewel, and it was Team Clutch versus Team Excel. And shout out to
Team
Team
clutch,
Clutch for
folk.
winning. But it was a very entertaining 30 minutes of basketball. And which sparked some conversation around that. That should be an official event. Maybe build out that activation and have it actually featured. We're going to ignore the quality of the camera. Shouts out to them, they did their thing. But it was fun. So, is that something that you all would like to see going forward, like be an official event at W All Star and NBA All Stars in the future?
Yes, but not at the fucking men's one in the goddamn Marriott ballroom at midnight. Like I don't.
Not just say they playing with a Sparks play.
It's all the same shit. Like I don't. Why this should have been an event that's part of what the hell happens on that Saturday? We have a 3-point shooting contest and a skills contest. You could literally have a 2v2 or a kick queen of the court on the same day. Like this isn't rocket science. I don't understand why we keep rolling shit out for men. And sorry, not to, but I just want to go back to the Sabrina thing because you made a point of saying that the viewership peaked when they did the shooting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no WNBA commercial. There was no commercial for the Liberty. Like, what the fuck? Again, to everybody's point, what was the fucking point? We know the girl can shoot, but you didn't advertise anything. You didn't say, "Oh, hey, the season starts in May. If y'all want to see some more of her shoot, come do this, that, and the third." Like, I just want y'all to stop tap dancing for dick.
They had at that event. If I'm not mistaken, Kelsey Plum was there, Asia Wilson. You had WNBA champs there, former champs there. You had Candace, who is a part of the Turner family there. That should have been some point, or there should have been space allotted to basically provide Not I won't say education. I hate that word. But or, I hate that word in this context, whatever. But I feel like they could have used that to further this talk about the WNBA or promote the WNBA. Like you said, Shay, have some sort of advertisement. There was nothing there. It was like, all right, y'all get this one shot, this one round, a minute and a half, go for it. All right, here's the winner. Get this plastic belt, and we're on to the next.
Yeah, it's and I like again we can't overstate like just how much like disadvantage the W is financially in this, but I think that that's why the W has to say do this for like if you men are these great allies and supporting the growth of the W, why not have that event at the W All-Star game? Like why do we have to use them as like big brother pick me up when they continuously show you that they don't give a fuck. Like MPJ got on a podcast and said, "Y'all need to go put some underwear on, or lower the rim, or I'm not watching the shit." And his family plays the game. Like we consistently see these men shit on these women just for them to go looking like baddies. I mean, Asia and Kelsey look good as hell. But anyways, looking like they do, giving what they give, having events to grow the W, but they are literally less than 1% of a slice of the pie at this event. Like they don't get shit, you know? And so if the W is strategic, they say, well, let's own and honor the fact that, we are not where the NBA is. So let's make them put their money where their mouth is, and let's have this event with a team for men and a team for women. And if you really want to say, okay, the W players need to shoot from their shot and the men need to shoot from their shot. You do a round robin. You take one side of the court where it's five of the best 3-point shooters on the men game and five of the best 3-point shooters on the women's game. And whoever makes to the finals for each then does a shoot off. And you do it at the WNBA finals so that the W can capitalize on the men that actually like watching men play because that's a very thing that they like to do. And we as W fans can be able to support our favorite W players in a space that is welcoming and inviting to the women that we are there to support. But
Mhm.
placing them in these male environments just for Kenny to get online and say, well, my daughter plays with Barbie dolls. My daughter plays with Barbie dolls. Why can't you play with Barbie dolls and shoot? Like, shut your penis skinned head looking ass up.
And I think it was Shay mentioned that there's really only two events. I think we get what, an hour TV spot on that Saturday, on that Friday.
Yeah, it was an
I think
hour.
that's
It was
it.
an hour.
It's just 1 hour, so they can definitely afford another hour to put maybe two more events together.
Going on, play.
But shout out to Hennessy though. If you're listening, we all drink Hennessy up here. I like a Hennessy sidecar, so we
Do
can
And
get
we
at
can
it. Okay.
turn that wind down until a wind up, if you know me.
Hello. We did pajamas last week. Next time we might not. Okay. All right. So.
Tay said to tell y'all that what Sabrina said at one time because it's cute.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. She said it. Said it to me. Sure did. That belt, that Steph one was cute. Now we that's it. We ain't gotta give her no more props. Be done. So now I'm playing. But congrats to Serena. She definitely showed that, she is a really good Jesus.
Cuter.
She's a really good shooter. Whew. Wow.
That was
Wow.
hard for you.
Um mm. Okay. So we're gonna go on to other WNBA news. And to keep Shay riled up, the Washington Mystics have signed Stephanie Dawson to a multi-year contract. It's It's official. Skylar and Nneka have been introduced to the Seattle community. An amazing press conference. They both looked amazing, and they're ready to handle business. And Connecticut have signed Shea Petty, which is a really solid pickup for them, and added Jocelyn Willoughby on that trading camp on a training camp contract. So throughout that week, what stood out to you about those signings? What did you like about those signings? What did you not like about those signings, Shay? And then from the presser, the introductory press conference with Skylar and Nneka, what were some of your favorite points?
I'm interested. I'm kind of interested. Coda, please, right in my face. I'm kind of interested.
Anyone?
In New York and the Mystics. I want to see what they're doing. Like the Mystics, I'm just like, girl, what's tea? Like, what y'all got going on?
Uh oh.
Wait, B, can
Uh,
you hear low?
Oh no, no, I
Wait a
can't.
second.
Damn it.
She'll finish and then we'll tell you.
Okay.
Um, I'm just kind of like the Mystic. I don't know what is going on, what you trying to do. I just don't get it. New York, to me, it feel like they're not capitalizing off of they made like they didn't win, but I think they made like great strides. But it doesn't feel like they're capitalizing off of the momentum that they have. Like I'm not sure. It's obvious you need somebody that can defend. Maybe the backup point guard because your point guard getting a little old. Uh, and it's like, what are y'all doing? I'm confused, and I don't. I mean, I haven't seen Kennedy Burke play in a month of Sundays, so I'm not sure what she brings or if she fills the holes that they need. But it just seems like they're not capitalizing. I feel like everybody else around the league is catching up, and they just have stayed the same. And I feel like with what they got, they could get caught slipping by a few teams. So I'm just a little confused on what New York got going on.
Yeah, I think like letting go of Willoughby is probably a really weak decision for them. Just because when we saw her in game, she was really good and she's developed really well. In the league, she just hasn't she hasn't had an opportunity to showcase that. Um, and as we all said on paper, they had the strongest bench. They just didn't necessarily use it well or use it when they needed to correctly. And I think they've showed this off season that they are just wiping out the bench. Um, and I think that is going to come back to bite them in the ass.
Hearing you say bench, I can only think about Carolyn Pick. But sorry, I had to switch and add my device. So, anyone else? What were your thoughts in regards to the free agency signings?
Yeah, I think New York's stayed stagnant while everyone else has gotten, well, not everybody, but a good number of teams have gotten better. Um, and Washington, I don't know what Washington doing. Good luck to their fans. That's all I got. I don't know.
I'm right here, y'all. They're like, what the fuck?
that
The Mystics hate me, and that's all I have to say. So I don't really know what else to offer, but I have regrouped. I think it was somebody was saying boo boo for Juju. I don't know who said that. Please in the comments write that. But horrible for Hannah. I'm taking all of the things and we're gonna be bad so we can get good again. That's all I care about.
Miserable for let me see.
For
Let's come
Malaysia,
on. Yeah, miserable for Malaysia. Who else is a
I
star
can do
freshman?
that. Miserable for
um,
Michaela. Like I can swing it anyway.
Musty for Madison.
Not musty. Give me something for
Okay, now we
Kiki.
ain't okay.
Ooh. Haters. Never mind. That don't work.
But
Never mind.
no, that you was about to fuck that up real bad.
Yeah, I was. Okay. Oh, in the other news, it's not necessarily free agency news, but the Wings did announce, and if anyone watched the Olympic qualifying games over the past week, you did see that there were some heavy bandage or slings with Satu. So today it was officially reported that she underwent a shoulder procedure. And there hasn't been a timetable set for her return, but she is expected to make a full recovery. As we know, the Mystics, I mean, not the Mystics, the Wings have been very vague sometimes in regards to the injury reports when talking about timetables, because last year we all sat with the expectation that Lou as well as Diamond will potentially play, and then they missed the entire season. So hoping that Satu is ready to go. I think most importantly, we want to wish her a full recovery, of course. But then you just never know with these injuries in the information that's provided on their return. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there.
I also want to say justice for Skylar and for a basketball
Yes.
community that was so hell bent on making every Aces player responsible for what happened to De'Erica. I'm going to flip the light back on to Phoenix. And I
Mhm.
would like every single Phoenix player that was in the locker room affiliated with the program to speak up on what happened with Skylar and why she was in tears on a press conference after having a child and not being supported by the organization. So if the entire basketball community can rally around and support De'Erica as they should, I want that same energy to be extended and that grace to be given to Skylar. And I want some questions to be asked by media members this offseason because there was a lot of questions asked to Candace and Asia about why they chose to play for an organization as
But
black women. So I want those same questions asked to Diana Taurasi, BG, and any other person connected to the Phoenix
Cloud.
organization. For Cloud, why? How could she, our social justice warrior of the hoops community, how could she go to an organization that was locking out a pregnant woman with multiple children
And
of
it's
that
funny because
organization?
that sounds silly, but that's exactly what they were doing to the Aces. Like, how are you this big social justice warrior and you child?
and several players have gone on record, have mentioned or alluded to some shakiness in that Phoenix locker room during their particular stints there in the Mercury uniform. We've seen several players mention it, and who was the common denominator in a lot of those things? Who was the one player that remained constant? So, like,
Yeah,
is it
I
to
agree.
not taint her particular legacy or what? Like,
I think it's two
allegedly.
things. I think one, people don't want to get involved because it's definitely going to paint DT in a way that's not positive. And I think we see it a lot on here. People can't handle that. Like, does it take away from her basketball ability? No, but it do start to look a little funny in the light. I do think that's an issue. I do think a broader issue is the fact that the WNBA is just struggling. Like, teams don't have locker rooms. Teams so far away from where they playing. Teams got all of these struggles. So it's just like, to me, it's like a catch 22, almost like you lose or you lose. In another example, do I gotta go play patty cake with this girl that I hate everything she stands for and smile on her face? Do I gotta go play patty cake with this girl that I just stood over and got on Twitter and said, if I tweak out, then what? Do I gotta go play patty cake with a girl who following Donald Trump when I be on Twitter telling y'all to talk about Palestine? Do I have to go do that, or I'm gonna stay in this situation where I don't have the things that I need as an older athlete. So I just feel like it's just a situation that's never black and white. and it sucks because it's like, damn, do I, you know?
Yeah.
Expounding on that, I think also it's so interesting after we had our spaces talking to WNBA media about their limitations as reporters, what these reporters choose to make their badge of honor, and what their organizations allow them to make their badge of honor. Because again, these same people are so big about what's right and being these Twitter social liberal giants and doing the right thing and saying the right thing and being these gladiators. I'm watching Scandal again, wearing the white hat. But then we see a player like Skylar who has been telling us for years and years and years, and this is not the first time she's brought it up, how she has been treated by an organization, and we've not heard about an investigation. We've not heard the WNBPA get involved. And we've not seen none of these reporters who were ready. I mean, Howard had already written an article about them usurping the CBA right after the De'Erica situation because they were so hell bent on finding blame with the Vegas organization. And I have to, as a black man, look at the demographics of these teams and look at who the stars of these teams are and say it is racialized. And so, to Lowe's point, certain players are and may be handicapped when they are looking to be traded or moved to an organization with where they go. But then you can't get on social media and try to play God and tell us what we need to do and what we need to advocate for. Because when I look at you at All-Star game with your legs out and your grills on, trying to be cute with the 3C braids, then I struggle because do you want me to talk about Palestine or are you out showing that you got money and dancing in front of these men's faces? So pick a struggle.
Both of y'all are making valid points. I want to go back to the WNBPA because I don't get it. I don't fucking understand. What is the point of the WNBPA? Because this seems like a prime situation for them to be involved in, and for Skylar to be sitting there emotional and then tweeting 2 weeks earlier and nobody's done shit about it. Like, what do y'all do other than get
Well,
on
she
here
can
and
ask
bark
her
at?
new teammate.
Well, that's why I'm like, y'all sitting next to each other. Like, what do they do other than yell at Ari for saying whatever she said on Twitter a few years ago? What purpose do y'all serve? But to me, I think the overarching issue and where I struggle with being a WNBA fan in general is that if the WNBA could be a successful league without black women, they would absolutely do it. And I think that is evident in how they treat black women, how they pull how everything in this league goes is that if they could just be Sue, DT, Stewie, Sabrina, and not have to deal with black women, not have to deal with us saying, hey, what about black women? They would be very happy about it.
Not the Negro Leagues for women.
That's basically what the Mystics jersey said, or was it the Wings? Too much.
So,
I
and one more point. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
No,
going to say agree with what everyone said up here, and I just want to add that I still want to see a tweet from Phoenix. I don't give a fuck
a
how
damn dog.
ended between the two, but from a business standpoint, it just doesn't look good. Like the fact that you could create a special tweet for Lil Pancake, a dog, like a literal dog. You created a thank you tweet for a dog, but you could not muster up any energy to tweet thank you to Skylar, who helped your team stay afloat while your star player was stealing money from y'all and only playing 10 games a season
With a
because her
broken
back
chest.
hurt. And Skylar helped keep your team afloat to help y'all get to the finals, which y'all haven't sniffed in, it felt like years. And then even before, she sat out due to the pregnancy and stuff like that, she was the one that was helping keep y'all afloat then. So like Skylar did a lot for that organization in the little time that she was there, and for y'all to just thank a dog before you even write a tweet to thank her, that is insane to me. Like I don't really care how the relationship ended between the two parties, but that is insane.
But the people that should be pushing the issue and questioning Phoenix about their values and their class aren't saying shit. So no, they're not gonna say anything because the people that get to sit in those press conferences, the beat writers, the what's the little girl with the DT page that's been all gung ho over social media, DT's bun. They don't say nothing. So no, we're not gonna know anything about it. And again, looking at what just happened with Cheryl and the way that that was handled, it's very evident and very clear that if you mishandle white women and other white people see it, they're gonna make it their mission to make your life a living hell, publicly and privately. So if you do wrong by DT, if you don't follow the letter of the law and you don't stand fall in line and do what she says, you're not gonna have a good experience. If you don't celebrate Caitlyn and tell her that she walked on water and won't have any troubles in the WNBA, you got to lock your Twitter account because racists are gonna ride your ass like January 6th.
Now, I wonder if she could turn some fish in some water in the wine. Now she might get me then if she could do that.
Well, if she could have, she would have did it in Dallas when Angel was waving her finger in her face. So
Ooh, ooh, I got another one for you, Shay. They say kicking it for Kiki.
I can do that. I can do all of them.
So now, if there are no other comments, we're going to allow and invite some of you all to the stage to share any
let me
grievances that you may
let
have.
me also say this because my spirit just won't allow me to continue to hold this in. I'm not gonna take it to hell, but I will say this. There are a lot of people in this WNBA space that claim to be pro black and pro um justice for black women, but continue to produce work and put out content that is the opposite of that. That continue to want and push for clickbait, that continue to um only put out content that's going to get the most likes and be very niche, and don't and are unwilling to have the uncomfortable conversations that involve people like Skylar, that involve people like Sylvia Fowles when she was not given her just due in retirement, that involve having the uncomfortable conversations about how somebody like Tina Charles can be almost blacklisted from the WNBA, that refuse to have the conversation about players like Kennedy Carter who did nothing different in terms of behavior than someone like Diana, but since she doesn't have the hype around her and the people around her, she can barely be on a roster. So for those of you that claim to be in this space, let's make sure to especially the white ones, let's not be fake. Let's not put on a mask and play in people's face about what we present to this space and only want to hop on the black train when it's comfortable. Because your anti-racist bios are showing. Horse.
The doors of the church are now open. Will there be one who would like to comment? Have any questions that you want to ask? Something that you like to get off your chest?
Anything you disagreed with that we said, please come up here and discuss it.
Well, while we wait on them, I got something I want to get off my chest.
Go ahead.
Please stop at this point of the season, and honestly, it should have been throughout the season as well. Stop asking Don about Caitlin Clark. Like, I feel like y'all ask, like the media members ask Don more about Caitlin Clark, a player that's in the Big Ten, more than they ask her to scout the next team that she's about to play or player in the SEC. And at this point, I feel like they're not doing it with the best intentions. They're doing it hoping for a soundbite. They're doing it hoping for clicks and trying to make a conversation out of nothing. Because if Dawn was to be like, I'm not worried about Caitlyn right now, we got a game coming up on Thursday, it would turn into Dawn hates Caitlyn. They asked her a simple question and she don't want to answer. Like, at this point of the season, stop asking her about it. Like, that is literally, that shouldn't even be her focus or your focus when talking to her. Like, y'all don't even ask Big Ten coaches about Caitlyn as much as y'all ask Don about Caitlyn. Like, what do you gain from it?
Well, hey Tay, welcome.
Hey, y'all, I got two questions. First question is, so South Carolina.
Don't you
Okay,
do it?
submit your
Don't you do it?
submit so
Hey, don't you do it?
how does
Bruh,
she need
let
to
me
start
get
the
it
message,
out.
Low? Low, how
Let
does she
me
need to
get it
start the
out.
message?
Y'all,
Huh?
How does
y'all
she need
about
to
to
start
wing
her
out what
exit
we
message?
doing. I'm
Oh,
asking the question
well,
everybody want to know
guys,
the answer to.
it's been fun. We've had a good time shaking stuff up and making things happen. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna, head out too.
All right, bro. All right, since y'all avoiding the question, once CC does leave Iowa, do y'all think these people gonna give a fuck like they claim they do?
No.
No.
Not unless Paige transfers there.
So I will give them this. I don't think they're gonna be active on social as much as they've been, but Iowa in general, that state, does a really good job of supporting their teams, because Iowa State has a really good fan base as well. So I don't know if they sell out every game like they have this year, but I do think their fans will still pull up and support. Now, will they be
Oh
active?
yeah, that's different though.
Now that everybody mentions, no.
Do they have
Oh,
another Gustafson, another
They
Caitlin
still
coming
got
through the
Hannah.
ranks?
they're all at Iowa State.
Uh huh.
Yeah, the eyes of Iowa about to move to the Cyclones after next season. I hate to
Even with
tell you.
Hannah, y'all think
Yes.
Hannah can make that shake?
Audie Crooks about to put
Mm,
a hole through that girl chest.
yeah.
Hell no. Bye.
Do y'all think they're a type of school that somebody would
No.
transfer to?
No.
Unless they're from the state.
Right.
If they not going with Caitlyn there, why would they go when she not no more?
Right. Yeah. No. Mm-mm. Never. Ain't gonna happen.
But congrats to Caitlyn for inadvertently announcing she's gonna be back next year, probably.
And did.
Oh, she trying to keep that scoring record. Shit ain't going nowhere.
Right. Oh, so with that being said, we're gonna get to you, Reba. Do we think that there should be an asterisk or anything that's set after your fourth year?
No.
No.
Because like in a like, yes, I get why people say that, but I think as long as I mean, just look at the numbers. Like, if you see that it doesn't put a calendar 4 years in between your first time and last time, then you know they stayed an extra year. They don't need to put an asterisk. The time is there. Like, as long as we can contextualize when they played, that's fine.
Okay.
Cause hell, hell, yeah, no, it's fine. And she
I
broke the
need
record before the time was up, anyways.
I need them too. That way when Juju tag on that joint, make sure we got the numbers calculated right.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Reba. Oh, hold on.
I also want to
She's still
give
there.
I want to give LSU a shout out for being the star of women's basketball. I want to give them a shout out for no one on the planet ever watching or supporting women play the game of basketball before Angel Reese put on a purple jersey. I want to thank Alexis Morris for being the Allen Iverson of women's basketball. I want to thank Kim Mulkey for being Bob Knight. I want to thank the University of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, for initiating the growth of the game of basketball, and for little black girls and little black boys and little white girls and little white boys standing together one day, united, under Martin Luther King's plan
I
of
have a
growing
sleeve.
women's basketball to see that team start basketball and do it in front of men that like blush on cheeks. Thank you, LSU, for your contribution to the history of the United States of America. Thank you.
Go ahead, Reba.
Hello. Anyway, speaking of LSU, I have a something after this, but I need their fans to be like a little more quick witted with their shit. Like, if you're gonna come into my mentions with dumb shit, at least be smart enough to back it up. Like, they're the worst fans to talk basketball with. Um, and it's really frustrating. But anyway, I want y'all opinion on the Sparks and Connecticut. The Sparks are actively trying to get rid of De'Erica, and I don't think she sees that. Um, Same with Connecticut and Dijonay.
Why do you think that? Elaborate.
Their signings. Why do you need Julie Allemand and Ari McDonald? Why do you need I
But with
think
that,
Zaya too. I think they're trying to get Zaya too out of there too. I'm not buying the social shit.
I
They're
agree.
doing that shit because she's in LA right now.
And
Um,
she's nice to look at, and she's personable, and she
right.
looks
But
nice.
I don't think they have a long term plan for her. Um, the Ari McDonald, the Julie signing, and then I think they signed another guard as well.
It's so many guards.
Yeah, so like that's going to be like terrible for her. In training camp. Plus, they got all them goddamn picks now. And then Connecticut, Shea
Wait,
Pay,
wait. So
Sydney Reese.
you mean they're trying to get rid of De'Erica or Zaya?
I think both.
Both.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
think they're
So
trying to get them both.
what moves have they made that you think they're trying to get rid of De'Erica?
They got the young lady from Chicago. I forgot her name. The is it Lee Yee or
Oh, they
something?
Lee
did.
Rue.
Yeah.
They
Lee
did.
Yeah,
Rue.
and then they got them picked, and I
Yeah.
know Cameron Brink is one of them.
Yeah, she should
They're
be.
not getting rid of Azare.
Mm-mm.
Um, and I think they get, if they're lucky, they probably could get Brink and Camilla with those picks they have now. And if that does happen, they're keeping both, in my opinion.
They should.
Um, like I said, they're not getting rid of Azare. They're still not done with training camp signings because they get a girl from AU every year.
And
So
Rashonda Gray gonna be back probably.
she on the way. Shonda's on the way. Her and Odyssey gonna find a team in a couple of weeks. They always do. So like I think they're trying to get them two out of there. Because in my opinion, De'Erica couldn't stand out on that team that was riddled with injuries, and it was basically just her, and she still couldn't stand out and be the star of that team. Yes, she came back from pregnancy, uh, but she looked regular. If you don't have the, Asia Wilson to stand, ride the back of, you look very regular in this league. And she has an SCS attitude. So, like, I think they should get rid of her. They should probably trade her now, in my opinion.
See, I thought last season she had a pretty solid season. All things considered, what she was coming
Yeah,
back from.
I
I
mean, she
do
should have. Nobody was there.
because at one point she was like there. Did she start last year? Let me see. So last year she was at eight
She
point nine
started
points a
the game off
game.
the bench, too. So she did like both.
Yeah, she was 8.9 points, 5.9 rebounds, and a
I feel
couple
like you
assists.
answered your own question.
I was asking what other people thought about it because I don't think anybody's saying, like,
I don't, but Reba, I don't personally, logically, I just don't think, um, like I can see how you can make that connection, but I don't think that either team that's warranted yet, given what De'Erica is going to be getting paid
Right.
and the makeup of Connecticut. So I can see how you can make that jump, like if I squint and do all that, but I don't know if that's there yet. Like they got to do a
for
little bit more.
Connecticut, it's the Shea Petty and the
Wait, how
Reese,
much
and
longer does
then
De'Erica have on her contract?
she got another year, I think.
This her this upcoming year is the last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
A picture trade, they'll trade it.
Yeah, it's one set. She's basically 169, and then Dejanay not going anywhere either because hers is protected as well. It's 78. I mean,
You just
granted, it's
got to
not.
pay her.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money, but in terms of compared to everyone else, but yeah, she's going to get hers.
Yeah, they could buy her out. I
I
don't think.
honestly don't think they're. I mean, hell, everybody's just going to trade everybody to Chicago anyway. They got the space.
I think she's going. They're going to send her to California next year. The Golden State team. I think they're actively working on that shit because she's been talking about it and all that shit, which
Okay.
will work for her.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah,
If,
it
if
would
you
be
know, if
great
she
for her.
want to get a chance to go close to home, to give us
Close to
one.
home, and then she could probably start there. If she stayed in Connecticut next year, she could probably start too because I don't think AT's coming back. So, and I think Dewana probably had. I think this is Dewana's last year.
Okay, give us 1 minute, Reba. Uh, hidden. Hello.
Yes, hello.
What's on your chest? Get it out today.
Well, okay, dear. Oh, sure, I'm about to say Dear. Going back to the scholar thing, I need them to also ask Miss Kai some questions because I'm still stuck on why the hell you over in Phoenix. I'm still stuck on why Kai over here in Phoenix with Miss January 6th wall climber with the bad nose.
Hey. We're going to be. Lo, you ain't give your disclaimer today.
Oh, child, I was not listening.
I think that this year, a lot of people, as Lo mentioned, sometimes they had to make hard decisions based off of necessities in this stage of their career. While maybe not the most favorable destination because of certain circumstances, it was the most beneficial to them for what they required as a professional or as a seasoned professional. So, as we've known, some people are able to be professional and put aside whatever feelings that they may have in order to attempt to get the job done. We don't know how that's going to work out because we saw the last form of the last rendition of a super team that was scheduled to show up in Phoenix didn't really go that well. Now, granted, that's a different situation in 2021 compared to now. Fast forward our Lord, 2022. Fast forward to 2024, but once again, I feel like they felt like with what they wanted, that was the best spot for them in terms of facilities, in terms of ownership, in terms of availability of resources and things like that. So I feel like we'll just ride with that answer instead of everything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it got to be that, but I think overall it's just too small because we know all of their personal thoughts. So now I know you won't really rock with that girl and you finna go. That's what it is.
Will
Like,
we see any chest bumping or high fiving or smiling?
I'm sure. And what do y'all think of that Chicago trade earlier? I don't know if y'all spoke on that.
The Lee Rue and Juliana, that's what Reba was just talking about.
yeah.
We
Oh, that
just
was
Which
talked
something.
pick
about
did
it.
they? Which pick did Chicago end up with?
They
Eight.
got the eighth
They
pick,
got
I
the
think.
eight.
We
Mm.
winning the chip. We back, baby. Let's go.
You're winning what?
Hey,
You're
Chip.
winning
Like,
the Eastern
stop.
Conference Commissioners Cup appearance.
Uh,
Hell,
No,
we'll
because
take
then they
that
would have to
too.
beat
We
Atlanta, and
taking
that's not
whatever
gonna
we
happen.
can
they will
get.
have to beat Atlanta.
Support black women.
Oh,
But
they did hire they also did hire Crystal Robinson. So shout out to.
Lorena Mayberry is the face of the Chicago Sky. So
No, she is not.
Yes, she is.
Elizabeth Williams is. Thank you very much.
Ooh.
this says,
What
oh,
about it?
Tyree just asked a question, yeah, y'all. He said, you said a few teams could catch NY based on how it's looking. What are those teams? I think Seattle, they got good guards who can defend and cook. They got
Atlanta,
decent.
maybe?
No, Atlanta for sure. It's gonna have to be a good night.
Connecticut.
But if
Connecticut.
Atlanta could figure it out, they
Dallas.
definitely could. Yep,
Dallas
a lot
can.
of teams.
uh, Dallas, Seattle, Atlanta,
Dallas,
Connecticut.
especially with the size.
But the thing is, you sometimes you don't even need a lot of size. JJ go hide in the corner by herself.
That too.
I mean, hell, Stewie too at this point.
Them three
Swoop too,
seven.
maybe.
Them three
Honestly,
seven.
if DT isn't taking a load management day,
Who?
Phoenix probably.
He ain't taking
DT
a
is
load
gonna load manage
management.
all the
What
way
does
to the
their lineup
Olympics.
look like to
I
y'all?
gotta see Phoenix on the court first because I don't think Kai fits in at all.
I
Really?
don't. I
No,
don't.
I
That's the
think they
weird.
got the right pieces to beat a New York, like matchup wise, at least. Like, because we've already seen what a not small, like a big guard that can defend can do versus Stewie. And you'd probably put Beck Allen on her. You'd probably match up Carl Laney.
damn, I
Um,
forgot about
I
that.
keep
I
forgetting Beck
forgot
is there.
about Beck over
Damn.
there too.
Damn it, I
Like
did forget about
BG and KJ on each other, and then who else is there?
So
Who
is
they
Beck
got?
gonna play the four?
Ooh,
Tell me the
that.
lineup,
Yeah,
yeah. Tell me the
probably.
lineup.
what would that lineup
Probably.
even
Wait,
look
who gonna
like?
play the four?
Beck.
Back.
They
Ooh.
gonna have to be small. They gonna have to play small ball unless they.
So Beck
I
at
don't.
the four,
Yeah,
BG
because
at
they
the
got
five.
rid of
Who's at the
Turner.
three?
They got
So
I,
Kiki on
who is
a training camp.
BG's backup?
They got Kiki on a training camp.
Ooh. Well, who is the backup? Because they don't have Megler no more. Or
They
Yeah,
have
Turner's gone,
so
so
it's they have at their depth is Tasha and then Suge. Then you have DT. I don't know who their backup two
I
would
heard they
be.
got Kia Vaughn back.
they,
so they don't have no
The-
backup. They don't have no backup five.
they
no,
did
they
got
have
they
no.
re-sign BG officially?
No.
They
Can't
Oh,
keep
haven't yet.
Bree on the line.
Okay.
yeah. Brianna Turner and Elizabeth Williams are on the same team, by the way.
Izzy's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting from that four spot. Izzy and Michaela
Did
in
they
terms
even
of
Oh, whoever they
resign?
get in the draft.
Did they resign Dick? Not Dick Connect.
Oh wait,
Not
Phoenix
Connect.
also
Chicago.
got Morgan, right?
No.
Biersch,
Oh shoot, they did.
Oh yeah, they did get her.
Birched, yes.
Bursch. Sorry, I'm thinking about Gordon Biersch.
Phoenix is gonna have to give that four spot up to God. Like at this point, I don't really know that because that's like the toughest position to play too. And yeah, just good
Yeah,
luck to
I
them.
think that right as of right now, it probably has to be Beck.
Yeah. So,
Now who?
are there any more questions in the audience before we wrap up? We are approaching our limit here this evening. We're going to go and watch some more games and all that good stuff. Make sure you tune
Some
in
people are
to
gonna go to sleep like me.
yeah, the East Coasters are about to go to sleep. So, if nothing else, we thank you all for joining in. Everyone, your questions and comments and your contributions. We will be on playback. Stay tuned for those schedules, and we may have some other surprises for you later this week. So, see you all later. Peace.
Wow.
Peace.
Lo was like, man.